Welcome to Unhinged Magi. We're back. And you know what's good? Selling boxes. I love selling boxes because boxes sell boxes. I don't care what's inside the box. It could be TVs. It could be DVD players. It could be, I don't know, spicy Funyun chips.
It could be singles of Flesh and Blood.
It could be a box full of singles.
Yep.
But I like selling boxes. You know what's being bought in Flesh and Blood?
Singles.
Yep.
Not boxes.
Not boxes.
There's more singles being sold in Flesh and Blood than there is boxes. And we think that indicates something.
It does. It indicates something. But what? What could it possibly mean?
Well, if there is a bunch of singles that are out there in the market, and everybody is going for individual singles, I think there's a couple things that indicates. Number one, it probably indicates that people aren't necessarily trying to collect everything.
Correct.
They're probably going for specific things, like specific decks.
Exactly. So if you're actually going for a specific deck, you're not really going to be hankering towards the size of buying a box because you're not going to get what you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cards in a Flesh and Blood set, especially if what you really needed was Majestic or Legendary or a Fabled, somewhere in that range. You're probably not going to get the one you're going for by cracking boxes.
So who's cracking the boxes?
Well, just people that just want to have a bunch of singles out there. So the thing is, though, the singles are being sold.
Correct. They are being sold.
So then they're probably for people who want specific decks, but the supply is still there.
That's right.
So that is an indication of something right there. If most people are buying singles, but the singles are still available to be bought, then that probably indicates that there's still, at the moment, there's more supply of the singles that people are chasing than there is demand. But as the game grows and there's more players and they start going for those specific singles, eventually what happens
is going to run out.
Yeah, those singles dry up, and then you start seeing them not available, and then you start seeing that price of those singles go up. This is the way this works, guys.
Even in Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
That's the way it works.
And then as the price of those singles going up, that eventually, not immediately, eventually starts bringing the price of the sealed boxes up, because people will start cracking those boxes again. Because if you're going to crack like a $60 WTR Unlimited,
yeah,
and you're not going to get something that's very worth it, it's probably better to just leave the thing sealed. But as those Majestic prices start coming up, so it doesn't even matter what Majestic you get. If you just get any of them, you're going to get some value. Well, eventually that starts bringing the box prices up.
Correct.
And so first you see the singles the supply goes away. They're just not available. Then you see the prices go up. Then you see the box prices go up. And next thing you know, there's a whole kind of recovery, the ships are coming up in sea. So what does that mean? That means that if you are a bullish person on Flesh and Blood, if you are of the position that the game is going to go long term, it's not going to die. And I think that's a yes, personally.
Yeah.
You guys make your own call.
Exactly.
I think that's a yes, because the game is a really good game.
And I think it's a yes, too.
Then that literally means now is the time to go get those
that
singles.
Means you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
For singles, you're at the bottom.
Yep.
It's going to happen. I mean, we're here.
Yep.
If you don't buy the cards that you need now,
yep,
either it's rainbow foil, even if it's just a regular Majestic,
right,
on non-foil, these are the times that you're going to look back and go, dang, I could have got it for $2-3.
Yep. And so you guys, you have ways of you have a canary in the coal mine with this stuff. If you are wanting to buy them, but you're a little nervous and you're like, what do I look for? What's my signal? You look at the supply. If the supply of the cards, of these Majestics, these harder to get cards, like the rainbow foil Majestics especially, if the supply is staying steady or the supply is increasing, that's your signal. But if the supply is decreasing, that is your signal the other way. You got to look at the supply and have some sense of where that's at. And the harder you have to look for cards to get the ones you want is an indication. Or say you want a playset of something, which in Flesh and Blood is 3.
Yep.
If you have to go to 3 stores to get a playset because none of them have more than one, that's an indication.
For sure. But I am selling on open boosters. I don't have very many up there yet, but we're going to get there at some point. There's going to be commons and stuff that people can buy and fill out.
Yep. So yeah, as you guys know, I just posted this video. I just finished my Flesh and Blood collection, like play sets of everything all the way through Uprising. Like I can build any deck. But what I noticed,
you don't have any of those yet.
yeah, because no one has those. But what I noticed is, in order to finish that off, and like just so you guys know, I mean, it was only a stack of like this, right? I mean, and it was mostly Majestics that were like low value Majestics for the majority. In order to do that, I literally had to order from like 45 different stores because none of them had all of it. And even the ones that had multiples, like their prices weren't great. So there's a little bit of that in there, but like I'm telling you, like most stores, when I was buying these Majestics, they didn't have more than one.
And that's an indication of people are buying it.
Yeah, that the supply is dwindling.
And they want it. Yep.
Yeah. So
now there are lots of Tales of Aria boxes out there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Everfest boxes out there.
A lot of sealed boxes.
But think about cracking it. How many foil Majestics do you get in a particular box? 3?
Foil Majestics, yeah, 1 to 3. Somewhere in that range.
So
in Everfest, you seem to get more.
Oh yeah, of course, but still, I mean, you look at Monarch. Monarch's a really low count too. It's still low.
Yep.
So if you're going for the foils, you're gonna have a hard time getting it.
So here's what I'm saying. So I want you guys to make your own call. Don't just buy what Edwin says to buy. Don't do that. Make your own call. If you think the game is going to like go the distance, go the long term, if it's going to have its growth pattern, then make that call. I think yes. I do believe yes. And so that is why I went and I bought those cards. But I'm directly telling you, if the game does go the long distance, this feels to me like the cheapest you're going to get those early cards for, including the Unlimited.
Yep. So let's say we go 3 years deep. Well, just like in Magic the Gathering, that'd be 96. That's when the cards started shifting really in the upwards direction.
Right.
So that would be another 3 years after that. It's going to get there.
Yeah.
And these are going to dry up. I mean, we all are looking forward to player versus environment. It's going to be huge.
Yes.
It's going to a major push for Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, you guys, the PvE, it could change prices on everything, right? Yeah, because entirely different cards that were undervalued could suddenly just spike because they're so good in PvE.
And we don't know which ones will spike, obviously. We're just saying that it's kind of like...
There's some that are possible. Greater Library is probably a good target for that.
Well, yeah, Greater Library.
Yeah.
Because that's one that, helps everybody draw.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's kind of like we're here now, right now, knowing not what's going to happen, but we don't want to look backwards and say, missed opportunity.
Right. Yeah, so that's why we're giving you the heads up. We're letting you know what our perspective is. We're letting you know what we're individually doing. And kind of like based on which direction the game goes. Now, if things go negative, then of course, you might end up buying and the cards might just keep dropping. But that's for everyone to make their own call on it.
Okay, so a little bit of insider tip. I do know that some people who don't even play Flesh and Blood are buying some of the rainbow foils and some of the cold foils just because they want even if the game doesn't take off, they're cheap enough that they're just going to stockpile a little bit. That way they can have it for later when the game actually takes off.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that. Like I did the same thing, but I do play. But what I did is when I was going through buying all the missing cards that I had, there was a lot of places, you guys, where I saw like a rainbow foil price for like an Unlimited was like $150, and a cold foil first edition was like $180. And when I'm looking at that, I'm like, what the heck, man? Okay, so I'm just going to buy the 180 cold foil.
Exactly.
So like when you see that kind of deal, if you believe that the game is going to go long term, when you see stuff like that, just get the cold foil because they're so much more rare.
Exactly. So but since people have been telling me that they are actually gathering this stuff and they don't play the game, that means they're expecting these cards to spike.
Yep.
And that's That to me is something, right?
Yeah.
That means investors are still there, but they're going after singles.
Yeah, at the moment, they're going for the singles. But, you know, we've seen this before. Like, you guys, we're speaking from experience when we talk about, like, the way these things can go, the kind of gyrations you see in the market. You kind of have to begin with what your premises is and where you think it's actually going to go. But once you have your guess on where you think it's going to go, then there is a path that can be outlined. And that's what we're laying on the table here for you. That's what we're doing.
And a lot of you already love the game Flesh and Blood. So you're watching this video, you saw Flesh and Blood, you clicked on here, and you probably already have multiple decks, right? Ready to go, right? But maybe you want to put some on the side to actually, you know, have an investment kind of thing going on.
Maybe just use to trade for other cards.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I've done with a lot of Magic. I mean, I did buy some extras sometimes, not so I can like just turn it into cash and woo, yay me cash. I literally had times where I saw cards undervalued and I bought a few extras for trading into other cards that I knew I would need.
Yep.
So I've done that definitely to some extent.
And we are in a tradable card game.
Yeah, that's funny that. It
Yeah.
does actually work like
It
that.
does work like that, right? So now you might not be able to trade it for years, but then again, when is PBE going to come out?
Yep. So that's the video, guys. That's the indication. Watch the supply of the singles market. It is important. The first thing that happens is they start to become hard to get. Then the prices go up. Then the box prices start going up. That's the path. It's likely going to go if it is like we're saying, and the game is continuing to grow and take off.
Yep. All right. That's good advice.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys.
Now you know, and maybe you should, you know, do something. Right, if you do, maybe use the TCG Player link below. It will help out the channel.
It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it actually helps the channel out.
Yep. All right. Hit the like button, subscribe, make a comment. Most important things for the algorithm. All right. Talk to you all again in the future.
Bye, everybody.